This conference will now be recorded.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Sanjeev, we can.
Okay. Okay, just logging into SAP. So Satish, you're saying in variable heuristic, assigning heuristic profile, is it? Okay, so AP-FG1 is a product. So go to variable heuristic. First you have to go to change one only, then that variable heuristic opens up. And in that, you have to go to here. I think I showed you the PPT, right? Product planning table, how we set the user profile. Exactly
Okay.
like that. Same way, you get profiles. So here you have to put the heuristic profile. See here I put AP because that day we did interactive planning.
Yeah.
So like that, here you have to put the heuristic profile, alert profile. You know, if you have any profile for colors or any the planning board profile, everything you can put. But what is important in product view in variable heuristic is only this. Okay, so all these things are required in DS board only.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Straightforward. All right, so let me open Excel. Very interesting session today. Um, so in here, yeah. So what we're learning today, our final topic is block planning. Advanced, very advanced. Normally, whenever you have variant configuration, you see, we do CDP, characteristic dependent planning. But block planning, you have a flexibility wherein you can use this function without having to classify your materials. In the sense, uh, uh, when I say classify, yes, even here we have to assign a class, but immediately it doesn't become a configurable material. Okay, so in advanced planning, you have an option of using block planning functionality by having a configurable material or without configurable material. I'll show you what is the limitation we have in. It's not a limitation. It's just that a baddie. You'll also um, get the baddie name. I think I have it, where you don't need to actually make a material configurable. Um the any material which is assigned to a particular resource which is relevant for blocks uh, gets activated for planning. Okay, so that's later, but let's understand what block planning is all about. Block planning is nothing but sequencing in a cycle. So you always have a cycle. You have a weekly cycle. You have some industries like food industries, they have in a month they have three cycles in a month. Okay, or every week they have one cycle for 2 days. Okay, 5 cycles a month. So whenever they have a cycle, in the sense, uh, in my example, or in real time, what I've seen in dairy industries, it could be tea. You have many variants in tea, right? Say you have green tea, lemon tea, a normal regular tea. uh, so when you have variants to one particular product, uh, what normally they plan is they don't produce everything every week. For example, if you have week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4, okay, uh, either I can take an example of tea, or in my today's example I've taken colors, but we can, just to have a good understanding, let's have, let's take tea as an example. Say if you have, for example, you have green tea, you have ginger tea, lemon tea, regular tea, any other tea that you know. Um, yeah. So just an example only. So you have 5 different types of tea. So if you talk about a cycle, say for example in week 1 they want to produce green tea, and cannot take GT here because again you have ginger tea. Okay, green tea. Then we have lemon tea and mint tea. And in week 2 they want to produce everything. For example. Okay, everything. But in this week, uh, the requirement is to produce regular tea and ginger tea. And in this week, this should be lemon tea and uh, mint tea, and could be mint tea. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4. Anything. I mean, you can just take it as ginger tea. Okay. So this is a cycle. This is a monthly cycle. Okay. So this is how the demand is. Uh, uh, so if you want to produce, say for example, you have a demand coming for all these metals. Okay. You have, so these are all different materials, different products. See, in this week, ginger tea is produced almost all the weeks. I'm producing in week 1, week 2, and week 3. Week 4, I'm not. So if there is any demand for green tea here, it will not plan. It look for the next cycle. Okay, so when is next? It looks for the next cycle. There are two ways, it looks for the next cycle, or it can plan here also, right? So the demand is here, it plans here, it will never see. What you should think here is any demand for these 5 products, the the planned orders will be created only in that particular week. Okay, if you have demand in this week for green tea, it will plan here. It will plan here for demands in this week. In week 3, it will plan, say for example, you have an order in week 3. Think about, you have mint tea demand in week 3. It will not plan here. Okay, in this period, it will plan only regular tea and green tea. Okay, so you have continuous demands. So you can create cycles in block planning, say reference cycles. it could be 7 days or daily cycle or weekly cycle. If you say weekly cycle is 7 days, in 7 days, what are the things that I produce? Okay, in 7 days. So like that, how many cycles? I have 10 cycles. So for 10 weeks, yeah, the cycles is based on how many weeks that you want to have forecast for. Okay, so that many cycles you can have. It's not mandatory that your the weeks that you have demand for your cycles has to be. It could be in a year, maybe only 3 months you want to have this cycle, the rest you don't want to have. You want to produce based on how you get the demand. So that is also possible. So your block should be valid only for 3 months. And after 3 months, it should not obey the blocks. Wherever the demand is, it needs to produce there. Okay. So the difference is in setup matrix, we say sequencing, first is green and then ginger, then lemon, then regular, or we can mix and match. We can put regular here and it just takes a setup matrix change over times. Whereas here, uh, it obeys the cycle, and also uh, it plans in respective blocks, uh, and also you can sequence it. In the sense, say for example, there are 3 orders in week one. Okay, so everything will be planned. This green tea, or a good example should be this one, week two, where you have 5 different products getting planned in the same week. Okay, so middle of the week, end of the week, whatever we have defined in the period factor, all the orders will be planned. But like I said, it will never jump to the next block. It always remains in the same block. And when I do scheduling, see here you have all the 5. This regularity should not get scheduled in week 1. And this should not, if I do forward scheduling or backward scheduling, whatever scheduling I do, this particular product needs to get scheduled within the same block. Okay, it should not go to next bucket, it should not go to previous bucket. Okay, so what are the things that we need? We need to have this many products. So in our example, I've created products, 5 different products I've created. Okay, 5. Then all the 5 products should have a bomb, should have a routing, and that routing should have same resource. Or I write it here, routing should have same resource, because we are producing all the 5 products on the same resource, right? And then bomb is there, so you should have production version. Okay, and then you need to have a class, characteristics. So when you say class, class uh, in advanced planning or S4 HANA, whatever you call S4 HANA, and this is advanced planning. So here we create a class called 300, which is a variant class, and that gets when we sif it, that becomes 400. Okay, so we need to have a class, characteristics, and organization area. Organization area is the one which connects this 300 to 400. So you have in S4 HANA we have Mara table, and then in APO or advanced planning we have a very popular table called Mara. Is at a not at a location level, plant level, right? It's at a global level, at a product level. So the similar table is Matkey. So what we do is we create an organization area which is common to both. Okay, say for example we take T or anything, just a letter T. Uh, we say for 300 also we are saying this, 400 also are saying. So whenever a class is created for 300, when we sif it, it becomes 400 in advanced planning. Okay, and then we need to create blocks in the resource. The whatever I just mentioned, week 1, week 2, week 3, so that needs to be created in advanced planning. at resource. Okay, so I get back to system. Uh, let's see, there is one example, but I've not created any. We need to create a block. But class and characteristics, you all know, so I don't have to once again create a class and characteristics. But definitely, let's let's go through all the transaction. O1CL. I think you all know this, very popular. In this transaction, you will find Mara and Matki both. Okay, so let me scroll down. If you're using ECC and APO, you have to go to ECC system. Okay, and then you should uh, create in this transaction. You have to create an organization area by linking Mara. See here I go Mara. Organization area. So what I don't see is for 300, I have MNOPQ is not, RST is not there. So this is just to show you guys how you actually do it. So for 300, I'll say uh, T. Okay. Okay, and also I can create one more. Okay, let me save it. You don't have to, because it shows in the, that's the good thing about the system. In the same organization area, there is also 400. I can actually directly say new interest and create. The best practice I always follow is you have to go to that particular table. Where is SAP APO Matkey? Yeah, here, go to organization area, and then you say, like I just told you, always copy that and mm, link this to T is what we have created. Okay, so this is the link between 300 and 4. The link is T. You can, when we create a CL01, or I've always shown you, let's do the other way around, CT04. Let's create a characteristic called T. Okay, T variants. This is a character format, and 20 is the maximum number of characters. Okay, description same comes there. Values, I was talking about green tea, ginger tea, green tea, ginger, regular, and whatever I said. So just copy that. Okay, and save it. Then we create a class, and I'll say this should be 300. Okay, you can see, you can actually create 300 and you can create 400 because we're in the same system. Absolutely not a problem. But the best practice is that you create only 300, and when you shift it, it should convert to 400. 400 is a CDP class, and that is what we need in advanced planning to make a block planning work. So the moment I say okay, okay, here status is what is one? in preparation release. It should be released. I don't know why it is 1. It should be released. And okay, we don't need this organization. See, very important. T. Okay, see here the ones that we created, all the organization area will show. This is the one that we created. Yeah? So you have to assign it here, and then you go to characteristics. Here you just assign the one that we created, and here again you should say T. Okay, T is the organization area, not the value. That green T is not that T. This is the organization area. I'm just linking the class to that organization area and also the characteristics to that organization area. Okay, and you save it. And in anything in 400 class, so what I expect is that now when I sif it, I need to check if there are any variants created for that. Setup groups. There is one integration model for that. I don't want to use this. I thought there was one variant created. I'm just looking for something which was already there. Okay, let me select this one and I'll say organization area is T 300. Okay, class type. You don't actually need additional characteristics, nothing we need. I think it at org area level it goes. So you don't need anything to mention here. Okay. Let's save this. Okay, so what I'm trying to show is how to SIF a class, how to create a class and characteristics for block planning, organization area, and when you SIF, what happens in advanced planning is what I'm showing. Because I have already have an example. I've taken a good example where it's not just 3, 4. I've created 6 different products. So I expect in the same system CL02, right? I expect 400 class if everything is worked. See, the T class I created in 300. When I shift, it got converted to 400. Okay, and you will see everything, whatever I created there. So how did it create? It's because of this org area T. So that's why it. So everything is same. Only what it does is only it changes the class from 300 to 400. Okay, and any characteristics linked to that class also gets converted to uh, 400 type class. And what we do normally, okay, this is how, and we create block planning for T class because this is CDP class. Okay, now coming to the example, MM60. So I've created 6 materials, block hyphen FG. If you see FG 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there are 6 materials that we have created. So let's go to MM02. So say block hyphen FG2, say for example. You look at the two things that I want to open. One is basic data 2, the other one is classification. Okay. First, I'll talk about classification. So the class that I created, that is 300 class that I created. See here, metal class 300 variant class. So I showed you creating one class called T class. Okay, but it's called block. So what this block has, let's review. CL02. Okay, so what's happening? Asian CL02. Block. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just displaying. So here organization area is X, and I created a characteristics that is called block char. If I go to the material master, block char is the characteristic description. Okay, and if I double click this, I have created 6 different colors. System is okay, 6 different colors: green, blue, yellow, red, yellow, red, black, gray. Okay, 6 different colors for 6 different products. So this is an example. I'm saying in week 1 I produce green, blue, yellow. In week 2 I'm producing blue, yellow, red. In week 3 I'm producing gray, black, and green. And in week 4 I'm producing all these combinations we can give. And this should be linked to the material master. Hence, if you look at this one here, FG2 is blue, FG1 I was assigned green, FG3 yellow, FG4 red, FG5 black, and gray is FG6. So I have to assign. See, the moment I go here, so I have to just select whatever I want. So in ascending order, I've taken. If say just to check once again, lock hyphen FG6. I should have gray in the same sequence I've taken. Classification gray. Okay. So like that, every characteristic value is assigned to the block, and that block is assigned to the material. So as soon as you do that, okay, before we go to the uh, product view, I want to show one more thing. basic data too. So here, this material has to be configurable. Material is configurable, check should be on. Okay, so now it allows you to change because there is no transaction data. So the moment you have transaction data on this material, it could be stock, it could be any order, this field gets grayed out. You cannot, once it is checked, you can never uncheck it. Okay, and uh, in advanced planning, if you want block planning to work, as of now in standard advanced planning, the material has to be configurable or else it doesn't work. But if you want materials or products to work the way we expect using the blocks, there is one baddie, okay, that needs to be implemented. If you just go to Google and say advanced planning or a block planning non-configurable, immediately it comes up. There's a block. You all know in S4HANA blocks are there. What works, what doesn't work, everything is there. In that, that baddie is mentioned. Block planning for non-configurable products. They've explained which baddie is that, which type, which method, everything is given in that. So you just go to that. But I cannot in this system we cannot actually implement that. So that's the reason I've made it configurable. In the previous batch, there was one guy called Pradeep. I really acknowledge because it was his effort. So what I was doing was that because it doesn't work, and we created PDS, we ran through everything, and then in APO I made it work. Okay, so there was an example set up in the system. So Pradeep actually made this configurable and tested, and he came back to me saying that block planning is working. So hence I tested and it worked. Okay, so it was because of Pradeep. Today this functionality is working in advanced planning. In the last batch I taught everyone in APO system because I didn't want to make this configurable, and at the same time my only understanding was that there is a baddie which is not straightforward, so it doesn't work, was my understanding. So now this works. We'll see how it works later. Okay, so make sure if it is a dairy industry or any industry where we don't use variants, and if you still want to use block planning, you will have to implement that baddie. Okay, so this is the only setting that is required. All the materials should have class and characteristics. And uh, that organization area and the SIF. The only that much is required. You don't have to do anything at work center. You don't have to do anything at routing. Okay, because material is configured. What happens is that as soon as you make this material relevant for advanced planning, this will take you to any of the products. Say in this case, it's block hyphen FG1 or any product that you take, FG4, for example. You go to product master. If you go to the or classification tab, see that class will come here. Any product you take, wherever you assign the class, immediately the class will show up. Okay. So this CDP class field itself, if you go to IDA system, the CDP class itself will not come. Okay. So that's why see, as soon as you click on that, it is saying the class is block and this is red. So this is what we have assigned in the material master. Okay, so it shows the class. It cannot show the characteristics like classification view in material master. Hence, you will have to click further class. All the other data will be shown. So if this is not there, then block learning doesn't work. Okay, so this is one thing. And then the other way to validate is go to the PDS. So you have to go to the change PDS transaction, that is logistics, advanced planning, advanced planning master data, PDS. You You can go to edit, or Karta underscore Simo is also okay. Say, let me take a block hyphen FG5. So execute. So this is the PDS. Okay. If you drill down, in normal PDSs, you see components, operation, activities, and activity relationship. Here you see one more called configuration. Okay. This is what it is. Why we have to make the material as configurable is only because we have limitations in this. Say, for example, this is what block FG5. It should be black or blue or whatever, I don't know. The value doesn't get assigned to PDS. Say 5 is what? It's black. Okay. So the moment you assign it like this, and there is a apply configuration. Okay. And then here in activities, see block planning, there'll be a block planning tab. Okay. So click on block planning tab. So this black is showing. Why it is showing black here is because here we have assigned. Here we have assigned that. So hence it is showing in activities in blocks. So if I save this now and again I come back, it disappears. That's why we have to make this material configurable. See, I'm again going back to the transaction. Yeah. See, I go to configuration and that's gone. See, it's disappeared. So the characteristic value is not getting stored. Okay. So the moment you implement that baddie, you don't have to use material as configurable. This PDS gets updated and it just works. Okay. So that is one keep. Now if you really don't, for learning purpose, you can always make your material configurable and then you can start working. Okay. Another thing is one more thing I forgot. The moment that you uh, make your material configurable in Metal Master Basic Data 2, you should also go to CU41. These are all variant configuration transactions. Okay, so you have to say this is a material. Okay, and you have to uh, go to that particular material. Yeah, so say for example, let me take, I cannot take anything because it's actually material. Just thinking how to show, I think this is the one. No, it doesn't allow.
CU43, I guess.
CU43. No, I actually do it here only because we have to create. You mean to say a display?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it doesn't. Okay, let me give block hyphen FG1. You're right. Thank you. So here you have to assign the organization area and the class, and it needs to be released. So the moment you have assigned this is the class assignment. Once you have assigned the class in the configuration profile, that's all is required. Nothing more than that. To all the products, like in 6 products, all the 6 products I have assigned to the class in CU41 transaction, that is create. Okay, and then assignment in the Metal Master, siffing the class, and you have a CDP class created in advanced planning. So with that, what do? We go to resource master. And this is where the real block planning starts. Until now, we don't really call it block planning. It's a CDP class. Okay. The real block planning starts from here. Let us see what is the resource name that we have used in. So C1. You see here, I have not classified this work center, not classified this operation, nothing. In S4 HANA, just any other 4 or even in ECC, the resource master, work center. There is no change to this. Okay. I give this. So whenever you, um, okay, so whenever you create blocks, the block is created, the intervals are created at version level, but blocks are created at all and at a resource level, not at a version level. So get in here, and this is the one. You go to block planning there. Yeah, you have to say create block. Okay, so the moment you create the block, here you can give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, 10, 20, 30, whatever. Yeah. 50, so we have 6, right? Let me just display. See, you need some description. Okay, and then you can, this gets opened up. So in the example of green tea, lemon tea and all, if you want to assign a color in the DS board, the same color will come. So let's assign some colors. See, I'm not saying that it's always, this is standard across, irrespective of what characteristic value you define. I said T, it could be thickness, it could be liters per hour, whatever you use, you need to assign one color to each. So because we have used color only, so let's give the same color so that we know we're producing green color, we're producing blue color kind of. Yeah, so blue. This is only how it displays in the DS board. This has got nothing to do with block planning function altogether. It is only for display purpose only. Any orders, that is that product which is linked to green, will will be planned and scheduled in the DS board. When you go and see, it will be under this color. Okay, so now yellow, right? Yellow, and then red, black. Black is not there. Oh, here it is. And gray. Spelling mistake. Okay, now see here I'm giving green, blue. Here I can give whatever I want. I can put it as cycle 1. Okay, don't think that what I'm putting is what I'm just giving something here. I can describe this as cycle 1, cycle 1 month June, cycle 2 month July. Whatever I want, I can mention here. Okay, so if you double click here I'm saying that in week, any of the week, in that particular week, I want green, blue, and gray. In the week 1, I want to produce these 3 products only. Okay, execute. Okay, just go back. In the second cycle, here if it is only one class, you can directly put. So here I want to put in week 2, I want to produce only red. In week 3 cycle, the third cycle, I want to produce gray, black, and let me put yellow again because red is already producing in the previous cycle. So in the next cycle, I'll put yellow. So in the fourth cycle, let me have blue and black. In the fifth cycle, I'll again have green, and red. And in the last cycle, I'll have red again and gray. So you all understood, right? So this many cycles have. So like I said, I only mentioned colors directly, and you can mention whatever you want. Cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, whatever. Okay. So we have block basis definition. So we've defined the blocks, and in this number of cycles, what are my requirements? Okay. Then I go to reference cycle. In the reference cycle, I create a reference cycle called um, here I give um, sequence is 10. Every cycle is 7 days. Overload is not required. Um, 10. So the first one that see if I go back to this, I think let's instead of confusing guys, I'll only say cycle. Okay, 6 second cycle, third cycle, fourth cycle. So I have 6 cycles, and here I'm saying what are sequence? The cycle 1, I need it for 7 days, and then here I assign cycle 1. Okay, I'm just saying it's 7 days. One, two, okay, here I'll say 7 days. Say rule number. Why it is disappearing? See, we can create many cycles. So one cycle for 7 days, one cycle for 10 days. So what we'll do is we'll create everything and save it. 5 and 6. I will say 7. 7 days or 1 week per cycle. 10, 20, 30, 60. So I expect the thing is I cannot save. I have to go out and then save it. Okay, come out of this and give planning version 000. Block planning. So here you'll see now as once you've created the blocks, it shows as maintain. So it has created the intervals based on the cycles that we created. So here we have block basis definition, a reference cycle, okay, and in intervals, let me select all, delete, okay. Then see this one, insert reference cycle, the one that we created for 7 days. Yeah, this is how it is. So what it is doing is, how many cycles? I said only one. If I do this, if you say insert two different set of cycles, see here, it is going on till 11/10/2020. You got it right. See here, you have 10 till 14/6, that is 1 week. From 14/6 to 21/6, you have 20. Yeah, and that's why this color, till 14/6. After that, it's blue, then green, then red. Then this how every color is black. Then it will be gray, and again green, and again blue. Again, because I have repeated 2 times. So 5/7, 12/7, 19/7 is 6. And after 97, see here, this one. This is the cycle start. Second cycle will start from here. That starts from 19/7 and it goes till 26. Okay. So here, now that we have defined this one, see, you can put as many as, like, if you have 4 different, periods, and that if you call it as one cycle, and then if you want to have multiple, then when you insert, you need to put the relevant numbers. Okay, and that icon, as soon as you click that icon, it updates the block at a version level, And now you see it's not create block, it's maintain block because you've already created. So these are the settings that are required. So what I'm expecting now, if the challenge is, see, uh, one second, let me off the heater. One second. Okay. So the problem with configurable material is that it doesn't let you create demands like we create for other materials. So everything you create a sales order, it'll ask you, okay, what is that? Whether it's red or blue. If you create a forecast, it'll ask. So hence, using a non-configurable product directly in advanced planning is a challenge, even to learn. Okay, so that's why instead of spending more time in the session, I created some demands. Let me show you. Uh, RRP3, any product that we take. So I have created um, a few demands. In 1 week there are two demands. In the next week there is two demands. In week after there are two demands. In following week there are two demands. Okay. Um, how to create? Just like this. So minus 800 and think about 27. So 10, 7, 20. As soon as you hit enter, it'll ask what's the block characteristic. Okay, so you have to mention. So this is 4, right? So anything that I give here, it creates a forecast. And if you click on this one, it'll show. So yeah, as soon as you go, it'll tell you what it is. Okay. Let us be. Let us have a uniform demands. So let me show you in RRP1 transaction what I've done. Okay. RRP1. Um, see how many demands I've created. So there are several demands. For FG2, FG1, randomly I've created materials in different periods. So now what do you expect? Some products should not be created in respective buckets. How will you know the demand is in one bucket, the planned order is in a different bucket? Is to go to the PPT. PPT1. Okay. And then here also you can have it as I think 2 months is good enough. Execute. And the period should be in weeks. Okay, so I just selected that resource which has come here. There is no orders on this resource. There are no planned orders. If you look at the forecast, it's 850,000, 1,250, 1,425. There are 4 demands for block FG1 and block FG2. There are 4 demands. This is clubbed together because I created 2 different ones. So I created 8 different demands, but it's put together and the total quantity is this much. So what I expect is if this 1000 needs to be planned here or there, it doesn't plan on the same bucket. Okay. So block 3 has 4 demands, and so if block planning works, it has to plan correctly now. So let me select all the products. Okay, your normal standard lots heuristic will consider the blocks. So you need to check whether, if you go to strategy, it's always infinite scheduling. Scroll down and make sure that block planning should be taken into account. Okay, so that is one important, or else blocks will not be respected. And say heuristic. To be honest with you, I have not tested. The first time I'm testing. For one product I checked, looked like it was working. So I'm directly running for all the products just to see where things are. The best place to see visualize this is in the DS board. So we'll go there, but before that, this screen will show me whether it is working or not. If it's not working, then we'll have to fix. See here. All the demands are put in this bucket. Okay, this is okay. And see this FG2, it is planning in week 24 and in this period. Okay, it's not planning anywhere else. Means blocks are only there. And FG3 is planning here and here. In other periods, in week 27, we are not producing this one, but we are producing this one, this product. For FG4, in week 3, week 26, we don't produce anything, so that's why it has taken those demands and it's producing here. Okay, for FG5, all the 3 weeks it is planning. So it has taken earlier demands and it is planning. And for FG6, it is planning only in these 2 weeks. This plus this, accumulation of this will be equals this. Yeah, 1250 and 425 is this, and these two makes 1850. So let us save this, and if this is really working, here it looks like it's all working, but we need to see in the DS board. Okay, so let's go to the DS board. And we also have to schedule. See, there are 3 products where the orders are falling in the same bucket, right? And we have to schedule within the blocks. In the overall profile, let me check if I've created anything for block. Yeah. Here it is. Let us execute this and go and see whether it is planned in the respective buckets. So let me take this off. Something strange that I'm seeing. Where are the orders? Expand multiple loading. Okay. This is a real pain. How to fix this now? I'll tell you what is happening. This is inconsistency in setup time. Okay, so now I have to do for everything. That takes a while. Or another trick is RES 01. Just put some setup matrix here. The reason why I'm giving FG1 is there are so many other metals which are created by others in the previous batch. Same problem. Okay, let's select this. I'll show you what the problem is now. Let's select this and go to function, heuristic, reschedule blocks without resulting. What is happening is see this you can see, right? This is the blocks. Cycle 1. That's why I'm zooming. So blocks are identified in the DS port. So cycle 1, this is my cycle 1. And after that I have cycle 2. Okay. And after that I have cycle 3. It has done. Okay, let me just so here there's an overload. So it is planned. See here, everything is planned in cycle 3. And then the best way to look at it is weekly view. This is the best way to look at it. That is, if you see that this orders are ending on one block, cycle 2, then cycle 3 orders, the three different orders, three different products. Yeah. So it is working for see in cycle 2 there are only two products, there are three products. Okay, in cycle 1 I told you red, right? Cycle 1 I selected many products in cycle 1, so this many products are. What I'm trying to achieve here, so this is how it is planned. And I either select the this resource, go to strategy profile, yeah, take into account. This is fine. What surprised me now is when I say reschedule blocks, it didn't schedule. It needs to schedule one after the other. Okay. Can you observe here in cycle 3? Yeah. In cycle 3, there are three products. There are three products. And if it is scheduled one after the other within the block, it cannot. The space is not enough. Either we have to delete some orders or we need to increase the size of the block. And that is the reason it is not scheduling. So you see, if I go to function, yeah, it is not scheduling because the 7 days is not enough to. You think about placing this one after the other. This much space is not enough. Uh, so let's start from cycle 1. Okay. Ooh, and this is the current date and time on the red color line. So if I delete, I think we gave a demand of a higher quantity. This should be 1, 2, 3, should be okay. This is easily manageable, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7 orders are there, and this one is 8 orders are there in this one. So let me select these two and delete. I know a little bit of work, but the whole problem here is the order quantity is higher than. Selecting. Is this okay? So the good way, the best way is or you can select the resource and do. Uh, and we also have a non-working time. That's another thing. Functions, heuristics. Why this not reschedule works, but reschedule doesn't. The problem is reschedule. It actually reschedules it within the same block, but I'm expecting this one after the other in horizontal way. One more try. Just checking something. I think this is the reason. See, finite scheduling. That is the reason. Let's. What do you think? Should we save this or let's not save? Let's go and make it finite. See, the moment when I do rescheduling, if it doesn't do finite scheduling, the first thing that should come to your mind is check the resource master. That is what I did. Okay. This was so. The capacities. Not sure why I forgot. Yeah, it has come. Probably that was the reason why it was not doing. Let's do it again. See, it did. It did here. It did something, right? In cycle 2, it did not. but still there is overload. No, it's not doing. Hey, this is actually correct. Huh? See here, one. This is, if you do it like this, hide multiple loading. See, it's one after the other. I thought it's not done, but it's one after the other. If I say expand multiple loading, it was a little bit confusing. I thought it is not done because there are two sets of, yeah, but if you look at, if you say hide multiple loading, it's actually done one after the other within the block. It has never gone to the other block. See, this is done. This is done at the end of the block. This is done at end of the block, and this has gone to the next block. Okay. To validate whether the products are aligned with where is our product chart? Okay, so now I'm just validating whether cycle 3 is should be which product. So cycle 3 should be block 5 and block 6. Okay, cycle 3 is block 5 and 6. So let's see, go here. So we said cycle 3, right? Cycle 3 should be these three products. Cycle 3, black, gray, yellow, three products. Cycle 3 products. Cycle 3. See, these three products. 1, 2, 3. So these three products are scheduled in the same block, and it is scheduled one after the other, finite scheduling. Yeah. And there is one more heuristic that would have been very handy today with our situation. So what I did, I deleted orders. Why I deleted orders is because we were not able to meet the 7 days. Our orders were beyond 7 days. Okay. And in real time, that will never happen. In real time, that will never happen. If it happens, it doesn't reschedule. And planners will do the same thing. But there is another heuristic where it extends. I really don't know what is the bad used for that. Even if you talk about a licensed advanced planning system or API system, that doesn't work. That needs a node correction. Which heuristic is that? I'll show you. What that does is it extends the block. It see directly from 7 days to 10 days it can extend. So let me make it big. Okay. So what that heuristic does is based on the order. Say for example, in cycle 2, I have 25 orders. In cycle 3, I have only 10 orders. So there is spare capacity in cycle 3. So it also gives planners an option to expand the cycle. That heuristic is there. But if you want to execute that, you need to contact SAP, or if you Google, you'll find there is a node correction for that. Even at the latest version, it is not. I heard it was a node correction was implemented to make that work. I'll show you which is that heuristic. Production, advanced planning. this is this one. Adjust and reschedule block limits. Block limits. You read this. See, the can adjust the block limits of a resource that you have executed a block planning with buckets for to the capacity utilization situation. This levels capacities between the blocks of a cycle. Blocks with overload are extended. Okay, remember this. There is this heuristic. If you call in the DS board and execute, it will expand. See, when there is an overload, that is what it's saying. It will expand the block limits. Okay, and it will do finite scheduling. Say there is a procedure. The algorithm successfully processes the block cycles in the set scheduling horizon. Yeah. So just I've seen this work. So we call this flexible block planning. There was a term used. We call it flexible block planning, where the blocks are flexible. It's not restricted to 7 days. Depending upon the order, you can make it flexible. Make it 9 days, 5 days, 8 days, 10 days, whatever. Okay, so that's why we call it flexible block planning. And why we call it flexible is because wherever we use block planning functionality, the rescheduling and this is mandatory. One is to reschedule, the other one is to extend the blocks. Okay, so just to work out I cannot show this because it doesn't work. You can try. Okay, reschedule blocks only works. So for that you'll have to, even if you have access to S4 1909, just try. I know it doesn't. Okay, you'll have to contact SAP if you want that to work. So what's the feedback, guys? How is it? Is block planning with all the master data? It's a little bit complex, but if you have set up all the master data properly, uh, I think it's pretty much straightforward. Any complications, if someone uses block planning, they don't use it for all the products. There are some group of products, some category only will be used. So the maintenance of blocks, all the master data will not be complex for only that group of products. If it is for entire all the products, then it's a challenge. But you know that it's only one-time maintenance at a resource level. Every product that is produced on that machine will inherit those block parameters. Yeah, you guys are silent. You understood?
Yeah,
Not understood?
Sanjeev.
Yes,
No,
Shashi.
it is very interesting. So, a couple of questions, Sanjeev. So, one is the demand has to have the characteristics, right? Either as a forecast or as a customer order. So that
See,
means
like I said, you don't have to.
uh-huh.
You don't have to, because now it asked for a characteristic value because I made it configurable.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The checkbox.
If the checkbox, if you do not have that, it can be like any other material. Okay, so let me check. I think it was in my mobile. I'll check you what bad is that. If somebody is using that, will be very handy. Just a minute.
It need not be a characteristic based demand you're saying,
It
which
doesn't have
can
to be.
be configured based on the block definition for a 400 class.
Yeah, it's only at the resource level. You're classifying only the resource. Wait, see, the baddie is how do I type?
So that's the alternate that baddie can be implemented to avoid this
To
checkbox.
avoid that. Yeah. So I'll type it. You guys can note down. Where's that?
I have another question as
Sure,
well.
Shashi.
So in the PPT, when you showed if a block has got like 2 products, but then why not it plan in the first bucket itself? Like if I can make it in week say 2 and week 5, it need not plan everything on week
No,
2.
you see, block planning, whenever you have characteristic driven planning, you always have to plan where the demand is. You don't, if you,
Ah,
yeah, you're producing very early. If you have shelf
yeah,
life and all, it'll be a
but
challenge.
that's what we wanted, isn't it? Because if it's similar to what I was telling about this production wheel, where if my demand is spread around in multiple days in a week or multiple weeks in a month, I wanted to optimize into a certain day or a week, depending on the block what I would like.
Mhm,
So I was expecting in an infinite capacity plan, you should have
mhm.
planned everything on week 2 and not wait till. Even though I understand your point is the demand is on week 4, but an infinite capacity should have planned on week 2 also, isn't it?
See how infinite planning happens. Infinite planning happens without checking the capacity requirements. It will plan where the demand is, be it block planning or any planning. Infinite works only where the demand is. Here it only changes because the capacity is blocked for that week for that product. Hence it sees how early I can produce, not how
Correct. So in
late I
this
can
case,
produce.
right, in this case, the week 4 demand
Hmm.
should have also been planned in week 2, isn't it? Because I do have a block for that demand in week 2.
You do have demand in week 2, but what about week 3 and week 4? Is it open? The block is open for that material in your example that you're saying?
Yeah, so when you showed this product planning table,
Hmm.
in one of those product, it did show that there are two planned orders, one for week 2 and one for week 4. Maybe I mean, we didn't go into detail, but I thought we were seeing product by product, right?
Yeah. No. What I am saying, Shashi, is that
Uh-huh.
if my for say for example there are two products, okay, for those two products, if the block is open in week 2 and week 4, okay, and if you have demand in week 2 and week 4,
Sanjeev, I think we lost your voice.
demand will not be, so the week 2 demand will be planned in week 2, week 4 demand will be planned in week 2 because the block is planned in week 2. Hello, can you
So
hear?
I thought, yeah,
Can you
but
hear
I
me,
thought,
others?
yeah, we lost you for a few seconds, but now we can hear you.
Yeah, no, all I'm saying is, you see, if I go to the just give me a minute. uh, what I was trying to say is that um, say example we have week 2, for example week 3 and week 4, and I have demand in week 2 here and here, but for this product I am telling that I have to produce only in week 2, then in week 2 it will plan 600, because it knows in this period and this period I'm not producing this product. But if I'm producing in this week, here it will plan 300 because week 4, but here it will plan only 300 because it's open. So why to produce early? So
Mm,
this is what I was trying to say.
okay.
But if it is blocked, then it definitely plans everything in week 2.
Okay, understood. So
Yeah.
it allows the block definition so that it
Mm.
doesn't plan early, even though it is possible.
Yeah, it doesn't plan early. If it has
Okay.
to plan early, definitely because of the constraints. But if there is capacity, why to plan early or why to produce early and wait for 2 weeks? Yeah. Uh, so here I'll type. What is that? The baddie is anyway. I'll be sending this to everyone. It is called CUSLN See, the moment you see CUS, it is related to in the
Yes.
PDS. Okay. In the PDS, I showed you the limitation. It is not remembering the characteristic value. I go
Yeah.
and maintain, save it, and it's gone. Hence, we have to make this a configurable material and assign the class, and then it's working. And because of that, our forecast is having a, you know, characteristic.
Hmm.
It's called add-in is the baddie. Okay, and the method is,
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I think we
I
don't
can't
hear
hear
it.
anything. Yeah.
Yes, Sanjeev. I think there's some voice problem from your side. Hello, Sanjeev. Hello, Sanjeev.
PDS will have that activated, the characteristic value. Material doesn't have to be configurable. Okay, so this is something you remember. Then we'll not have this problem of forecast. If you create any demand, it asks for the characteristic value.
Sanjeev, I think there's a delay in your voice.
Oh, really? Is it for everybody or it's only for Shashi? Because your voice is very
It's
clear to me, Shashi.
it's for everybody, Sanjay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we lost you after the method.
After?
After you mentioned something about the method.
Oh,
I mean, when you
sorry.
started talking about method. That's
Okay, so I've just mentioned here, what is the baddie name? And what is the method? So this is the method. Okay, so this is something you have to make sure that you set it as X, maybe a different color.
I think there's a delay. Sanjeev, are you typing something?
No, I'm not typing anything.
Okay.
I'm just adding colors to those rows.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is block planning. I'm still, last few months, I'm still working on this to make that extended. And I'm actually contacting people, but nothing like that. It will be 100% in block planning. So only thing that we cannot see is that extending of block limits. Okay. So if even in APO it doesn't, if you go and try, even though there you don't need configurable products and all, directly it works in APO. But the problem is that um, we use PPM there, not PDS. Okay.
Sanjeev, for this, another question. For this issue when we had in the descheduling, that checkbox which was missed for resource, assuming that was not an issue, then what would have happened if there was an overload? It would have planned in the subsequent block whenever it is available in the future.
The checkbox was for finite planning, finite scheduling.
Correct.
Yeah. So when we planned, it plans only in the respective blocks, whether it is checked or not. And this comes into picture only for rescheduling, not for planning.
That's correct. But assuming that the capacity was overloaded in that particular block, and we also have checked the finite capacity, and we do this some finite scheduling. So what happens for the remaining demand? It will be planned in the subsequent block with a delay.
No. See, in such scenario, when there is an overload, system will not execute any planning. It will fail. It will not reschedule because that the block period is not sufficient. And that is what I was just saying. There is another heuristic in such situation. That heuristic should be used to expand or to extend the block period. Either you do it manually, go to the block in resource master and extend 7 days to 12 days or whatever, or in that heuristic itself, it'll balance out automatically. It'll extend the weeks where there is capacity. It'll manage by itself. 4 weeks, fourth week you have very less demand, third week you have less demand, second week there is an overload. So what it does in the second week, it'll expand, it'll extend as much as possible by itself. And then also, if you cannot, then you have to see why you have so much demand. Yeah. So your demand planning is not correct. You're having a lot of demand in a week which cannot be met. Okay. So it comes down to that. You cannot have simply demand.
So this block planning also
more
works
than what
for
capacity you have, right?
Also, does it work
In
for
a
the
week.
optimizer?
Optimizer, no. No. Optimizer, it doesn't. What it does is you can use setup metrics. Okay. And now we may say, if we use setup metrics, why not optimization? Instead of saying no, I should say that I've not heard of, I've never seen block planning and optimization together, and even I have not tried. I assume that it doesn't because of a lot of characteristics. You go to optimization profile, nowhere it mentions about class characteristics, blocks, and all. So my assumption is that it doesn't. But what I have seen maximum is that, when we sequenced within the block, it just sequenced by itself. There is no logic to it, right? So if you want to build in a logic, say sequence 3 products are produced in week 2. So those 3 products needs to be sequenced based on setup metrics. Yes, that works. Okay, I won't say 4 is a block. FG3 should be first, 4 should be second, 5th should be third, with some changeover times. That works. But optimization, I seriously doubt. Never seen anywhere.
Okay, thanks, Sanjay.
Yeah. So anything else, guys?
So
Any
Sanjay,
other
it,
questions?
it also doesn't work with APO PDS?
No. APO PDS, it doesn't work. You need to have that IS mill, IS steel. Now they don't call it IS. There's a different name to it. The additional license brings that field in product master, or else you don't see that field at all in product master. Okay, so the classification integrate. Forget about block planning. Even variant configuration, you don't in standard APO. The CDP class, variant class, material, any class, the classification tab, all the fields are graded. It doesn't open up at all. So that needs to be enhanced. This is a separate license for that.
Sanjay, we are using the CDP class. Like you said, I don't see any values on the PDS or on the material master. So where are the values coming from, though? That is always a puzzling question to me.
Where in the product master, I showed you the values are there.
Um,
In PDS also it's there.
the PDS, it's always blank for me. I mean, I go, there is a configuration tab. It's like a create in there, but it doesn't give any values in the PDS.
Values it doesn't give, then you need to implement this baddie, that the one I just said. Then the values will come up from the product master.
Okay. But
Yeah,
it will work even without those values. I mean, because
it
sometimes
won't
they,
work. It'll not work. If you want it to work, you have to make the material as configurable.
yeah, the material is configurable. Yes. The
Yeah.
material is configurable. There is a 777 primary material, and we have like hundreds of U numbers which are under that single material.
Okay.
But I sometimes get the MRP results showing that the characteristics are not same as the receipt and the demand, etc.
Characteristics are not what?
Yeah, the characteristics are not the same as the demand, and it doesn't even create the planned order. So I don't know.
I'll tell you 1 second. I had this problem before. So you're using block planning, is it?
No. I'm not using blockman, just the normal variant, but just a normal MRP run and optimize it. That's it.
Oh, okay. Now, to Shashi's question, have you seen block planning in optimization?
No, I have
Hmm.
not.
Okay.
You can check if there's a setting, but we didn't even try that part.
See, I think I would suggest in your sandbox system or even in your development system, try to implement this PADI and
Okay.
see if it brings the characteristic value directly, or you maintain it and say we should store. But if your
Okay.
materials are already configurable,
Mhm.
uh, then you don't need to implement this.
Right. I
Uh,
mean, it works for 90%, 99% of the materials. There are like few 10, 15 materials. So somewhere maybe when they are, but how does the system take the values for these configurable materials? Does it take just what are the material master
well,
has, like meters,
yeah,
like for example, the
yeah,
different,
yeah.
or
So
do they
this
handle?
values are coming from Metal Master only. We assign the class and characteristics there in the Metal
Okay.
Master.
Okay.
And if you go to Product Master, you can see the same class and characteristic.
Okay. So somewhere it's breaking down basically between the receipt and the demand. Check that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
When you the thing is, I'll tell you what the problem is. Say, for example, your material is assigned to a red color. Okay.
Mhm.
When you create the forecast, it actually asks you. It doesn't automatically become a red colored forecast. Okay.
Mhm.
When it asks for the question, you have to select red. If you have selected green and your plant order looks at PDS and it's red, so the demand and receipt. See, I'll show you why you get that problem. Uh, the why is, say for example, you know that um, in product view,
Mhm.
say let's take FG1, which we know it's green, right?
Sure.
It's green. So when I create a demand for this, if I create a demand in uh, selecting red, then comes the inconsistency. Yeah, I say minus whatever 250 or something on 10, 6, 20. So when I do this, it asks me here. We know this is green, but if we select anything else other than green, say for example, I selected blue, it still allows. See, it still allows me to create a forecast in blue color. Then what happens when you plan? Okay, so planned order looks at the product master.
Mhm.
Okay, in product master, you put it as green. In the requirement, it is red. Then it tells you the message that the receipt and demand doesn't match with the characteristic value. This is the only thing that I remember seeing because of this. So in your demand for those materials, just check what characteristic value it is being populated.
Okay. And
Yeah. See here, now I'll show you. Now I selected as blue, right? If
mhm.
I go to the planned order will be assigned to green. See?
Sure.
So planned order is green, your demand is blue, and that is the problem. The problem is in your for demand.
Okay. Because yeah, that's what anytime we let's say I enter a forecast and configure a material, the pop-up comes up saying location dependent standard configuration exists, and it says configure individually. And if I say yes, it comes up with the default values that you have in the material master, and it creates the forecast. But when I run the MRP, it actually doesn't create a planned order. If I say no and it just creates like a normal forecast, then it creates a planned order. So somewhere it's
Okay.
breaking down. I mean,
Ah.
I have it right in front of me. If you want me to share my screen, I can show you. But
No, not now.
yeah, I know.
Uh,
So that's why, yeah.
so again, I think you'll have to check, everything. Just have one which is working well, and
Hmm.
this product. Look at the assignment of class characteristics and whatever we did now. See, I know you told me that you're working on variant configuration. Variant configuration has a lot of other parameters. Here we only maintain class and characteristics and the configuration profile. That's it.
Okay.
But variant configuration has so many object dependencies for that product, right? So
Yeah,
where there is inconsistency, we don't know.
yeah. I'll look into that. And I have one other last question.
Sure.
When what we are doing is we are doing the optimization for 17 weeks, but for the next 3 days, if I want to do a well, we use setup matrix we have a finite resource for every operation. One of the operations out of the 10 for every order, we have one finite resource. And on that, we have the setup and we have the setup matrix defined for it. So for, let's say for one day, if they want, and the optimizer, we are not doing it by setup sequencing. We are just going by the demands date, whenever the oldest demands are. So what the production team is coming back and saying they're having to do a lot of setups individually, and it's eating up a lot of the time. So they want to do a setup sequencing just for their next 1 week or something so that they can rearrange their production. So if I want to do that, if I go to the RPT and I do a deallocation first for that day, if I want to rearrange my setup, it zeroes out my setup time in there. Is there any heuristic that we can use to rearrange my setup sequencing?
Wait, huh? So the requirement is that for 1 week,
Mm-hmm.
this for only 1 week, the setup sequencing should work,
Yes, just
right?
we want to rearrange the whole setup sequence. Yes,
Yeah, and after that, optimization should work.
yes,
Okay, so for that, we know that you can put the start of optimization horizon the 7 days from now. We can
yes.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but for the next 7 days only, if you want setup sequence, you should create one time profile. The time profile should be of only 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
In the DS board, directly they go to, let me just, this is the only way that they can do. So they have to go to this one. I'll just execute whatever
Mm-hmm.
without changing. So what they should do is they have to just go here and they have to select, they have to assign a time profile which is only for 7 days relative from today.
Okay.
Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
then when they run at a resource level sequencing, it does sequencing only for 7 days. Anything beyond that, it doesn't touch.
Yeah.
And then when they do optimization, they have to once again go and change the profile to whatever. But in the optimization, they have to use start of optimization 7 days from now, not 7th. It
Right.
should be like 14th onwards.
Mm-hmm.
You got it right. So from 14th onwards, optimization will work. But for the next 7 days, setup sequence will work. Everything can be done in the same. In the DS board, create one time profile for next whatever your horizon is, one time profile, and another time profile for only 7 days from today. So in the being in the DS board only, they can do both. They don't have to do anything.
Or
Setup
if they select,
sequencing. Mhm.
just for that one day, deallocate all the operations for that day first on that finite resource. And
Mm.
then in the schedule, in the DS strategy, you can say rearrange by the setup sequencing, ascending or descending. And then if they reschedule it,
No,
I would
what
expect.
are you deallocating? In say, for example, next 7 days, there are
Uh-huh.
say 10 orders,
Right.
okay, or maybe 25 orders. So
Mm-hmm.
all those 25 orders needs to be scheduled or sequenced in
According.
ascending or descending, whatever order,
Right.
right?
Right.
So where is this deallocation coming here?
I mean, but if we have to rearrange them, shouldn't we have to deallocate it first, or it automatically
No, why
happens?
deallocation? You have to just select those orders, a window
Okay.
selection, click on reschedule based on earliest date. You should always, if the situation is where from today to 7 days, then you have to say forward scheduling as specified date, give today's date as specified date, forward scheduling for next 7 days. Why next 7 days? Because my time profile is valid only for next 7 days.
Sure.
Beyond time profile, it doesn't go.
Okay.
And if your orders are more than 7 days worth, it will not schedule, it throws an error. Then you can tell your planners you have 10 days of orders. How you can expect that to be sequenced in 7 days?
Right.
So increase your capacity, something like that.
Yeah. Because the overall intention is to reduce the overall time. So I thought if I deallocate it first, it will take out complete capacity and replan the whole thing for the 7 days, so that they doesn't try to readjust it among itself.
Now, if you use a different time profile, they don't have to readjust. They don't have to do anything. Just click off a button.
Okay.
7 days will be sequenced based on the setup group and whatever that we have defined in the strategy.
Okay. Great. Thank
Yeah, and after that, change the profile and execute optimization.
you. Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
Do that.
that will be starting from 8th day.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is one thing I can think about.
Sanjeev, actually, I don't have much information about ECC forecasting. Here we are entering forecast whenever we need it in RRP3, right?
Yeah,
In the real time, how it will be released?
in real time, normally we release from DP to SNP
Yeah, if it is
release.
APO, but is in S4
Yeah. So
HANA?
the moment you release to SNP, you can see that in RRP3.
Yeah,
So
that is
in
in APO, but in S4 HANA.
so that's a good question. I think we've been talking. I think Shashi was saying that we do in IBP, then we upload to MD61, and SIF
Yeah.
integration model will bring to S4. That is one way. And now I spoke to someone couple of months ago, or maybe last month after we started this session. I forgot actually, but I was told Shashi can correct. Now they've built a new interface where from IVP directly to S4 HANA they can load the forecast. If, I was told a name to it. I don't remember now. It's a
Cloud platform
newly.
integration,
What is it?
CPIDS. I didn't fully listen to the question, but if you're talking about releasing the plan independent return from IBP to S4, are you talking about that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So IBP's integration with S4 or ECC, there are two types of integration. There's one for time series. It's called cloud platform integration data stage. And then for order-based planning, there is another integration called
SDA?
smart data integration.
No, actually, without IBP, only S4 is there. So in that situation, so how the forecast
See,
will be done and how it
so
will come.
Satish, so where you want to do in S4 HANA system, there is no demand planning, you know that, right?
Okay, then how the forecast will come here?
See, any company will be using an external tool for demand planning. They
Oh,
use something. If S4 HANA is not there, they may be using APO, they may be using some other tool. So finally, they get the output of the forecast, right? That needs
yeah.
to be uploaded to S4 HANA. That's all. Maybe an external a BDC or anything.
In one of my client, they used Infor for demand planning. And then they had this BAPI to call this to create the long-term focus in AS4 or in ECC in MD61. So you basically like do a BAPI call, which triggers that MD61 equivalent program in the background, and then upload an Excel file. That's it.
In your
Yeah,
previous
it's just
implementation,
like a background BDC.
Sanjeev, in your previous implementation, how it's happened in S4? So is
See,
it directly in a program?
okay. In my previous implementation, we were only focusing on PPDS to work. We were actually loading directly to RRP1 from an Excel. RRP1 transaction we were uploading. The only challenge that you face in RRP1 is because the challenge is that when you do mass upload, it has a limitations in number of line items. Okay, so that was one challenge that we faced, and hence we decided to go with MD61 route. So in MD61, we go at a product level, product by product, we upload the forecast from Excel, and through SIF, you can see it in advanced planning or the forecast. It's like releasing exactly from DP to SIF.
But
Yeah,
there are
so
some PP guys in this team, Sanjeev, because in olden days, you have this long-term forecasting in ECC, right? Demand management. You can actually create forecast by very basic modeling is there.
see,
So,
there is something called there are two types of planning, demand planning in ECC. One is called flexible planning. Other
yeah,
one is called sales and operation planning. One is flexible planning. Another one is standard something I forgot now. So
yeah,
in ECC itself, they can do all this,
yeah.
but nowadays nobody uses those two.
Yeah,
Sales and
but
operation planning.
S4 should have those options, right? To create
Oh yeah,
plan independent requirements based
yeah.
on
Information.
history
It's called
with a
information
limited,
structure.
with a limited stat forecast model.
Yeah, yeah. But
Sorry guys, Amit
like I
here.
said, if I am it.
So, yeah, sorry. I'm basically a PP consultant, and I have used the custom program for uploading demand into ECC, also in S4HANA in my last project. So it's very
It's a custom
straightforward
program.
program. Yeah, but straightforward. There is a BAPI available, BAPI requirements create, and you just use this BAPI with custom transaction code. You can upload it using an Excel file. You can upload even 10,000 material codes or SKUs, and their let's say 18 months demand at once.
What is the BAPI name, Amit? Can you repeat?
BAPI underscore requirements underscore create.
So it will come
Oh,
to directly
straightforward.
MD61?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you need to
Because
do the
in standard,
implementation. No?
yeah.
Yeah, you need to have that, and you need to have the source file created in the same format. So you need to talk to ABAP. They'll do it for you.
Other option, if you want to automate, is you can write a web service from a file server, load it into the server, and then run the web service. That web service will trigger this BAPI, and then it will be automated. That's if you want to automate it.
Yeah, if you want a direct interface from your forecasting system to SAP. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, Sanju,
other,
I had one question also.
please ask me.
Sorry.
Today is a
In
session.
the block, in the DS board, when you are showing block scheduling, there was a small green strip coming at the bottom at the order span. What is that green strip?
That's overload.
Green strip is overload. Okay.
Yeah, green slip is always overload. Whenever you have an overlap of order, then you find that small, the line, if there is an overlap.
Okay.
And most of the times, if you have done rescheduling properly, everything, you don't even see that that green line.
Yes.
You don't see
When I was testing for something else, I found it appears for some orders and doesn't appear for others.
Yeah. So the moment you click on reschedule button, that green line will disappear.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that is why it is there to show you that there is overload.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. No worries. Any other questions, guys?
So funny that when you say that you need to switch on the heating in Chennai now, it's 40 plus, man.
Oh, is it? Chennai always 40. Even winter also 40 there. I struggle whenever I go to Chennai. I come back to Bangalore with a lot of headache, a lot of medicines in my pocket. It's very difficult for me. Chennai and even Hyderabad is too hot for guys in Bangalore. Yeah.
Yeah, finally I'm
Used to that.
taking a flight on 15th back to Budapest.
15th, huh? Good to know that there are flights from India. I thought it
Vande Bharat.
starts from August, I thought.
No, this is the Vande Bharat flights.
Oh, that Vande Bharat initiative. Okay.
They're going out, so they are carrying all the expats from India.
So when you're starting there, you work?
No, right now I'm doing remote work, but
Oh, you started already.
yeah.
Very good. Here it's kind of winter is just starting, but it's July will be hopeless, it'll be worst. But yeah, now itself it's it's very cold. Yeah. Right, guys. See, if you don't have any questions, we can wind up. And I actually shared SAP Press with Sriram. So I think Sriram I think he told me he's created a folder where he'll put this also in the folder you all can
Yes,
access.
Sanjay. Already, yeah, we have got it already. It is there in the shared.
What I've not shared with Sriram is the 1909 study material. Yeah, that is something I'll share this week with him. And together with the recordings, he'll also to share SAP Present 1909 study material. Okay. If you have any questions, you all know my email ID.
I
you
think
just
I
contact me.
think
If it is anything related to what I taught, I'll definitely reply.
yeah.
What is it?
Sanjeev, yeah, Pankaj here. Actually, I joined late, so I have not received any mail from your mail ID. So if you can share your email address with me,
Oh,
so
okay.
that
You don't have, is it?
yeah, because I joined some 3-4 sessions late, I guess. So before that, you have shared all these things with the team.
Okay. Okay. No, what I'll do is I'll send the Excel. I'll show you that. In that, it's not just my ID. If others don't mind, what I normally do is so that you all guys can uh, uh, see everybody's email ID is there. Yeah. Okay. So I'll put mine also here.
You don't have mine in this.
Okay. Tell me, Pankaj.
It's Pankaj Bagh, BAGH
Mhm.
@gmail.com.
Yeah. So if I taught you something and you can, everybody together can. Actually, long back, GATP RBA session did not work properly, and then I started another batch, and everybody, because they created a group and they're chasing me, so I had to take a separate session for them. So like that, here you have all the details, so you can use it. You guys can be in contact, build a network and all this. Okay, so I will send this file also to Sriram this week so that you'll receive all the. There won't be anything left out. Okay.
Awesome, Sanjeev. As usual, many
Thanks
thanks
a lot.
for your support.
I think we have covered everything, and I was looking at how many sessions we had. Sriram was telling that we've spent 34-35 hours already, which is good. Normally, like 28 to 30 is what I target. But it has gone well. I think we covered everything. I don't think we got stuck in any function or yeah. Please practice, and if you don't get the output that I showed, just drop an email with the example, your material, and yeah. So I'll have a look in your system and get back. I may not come back the same day. Give me 2-3 days time to actually have a look. Okay. Thanks everybody. Let's
Yeah,
stay in
thank you.
touch.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sanjeev.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much, Sanjeev. Appreciate it.
Okay.